All right, well, we've got the LS Miata on the trailer because we are headed up to KSR Performance in Gainesville to put the car on the dyno and see if it's down power. I have a theory that it's down like 50 horsepower, maybe not 50 full horsepower, but it feels like it's down 50 pound-feet of torque from like 3,000 to 5,000 RPM. It just feels like it doesn't have the mid-range it did before. And the reason I say that is because we had some fuel system issues with this car at round one of clutch kickers. I fixed those, took it on a test drive on the street. I had sticky 245 comp tires on the car, and if I matted it in third, it would blow the tires off. Now, flash forward, I ended up switching the car back to drive-by cable because I started having some intermittent drive-by-wire issues. I didn't want to risk that, that reliability problem. So I switched it back to drive-by cable, and when I test drove it after we switched it, I was on junk 205s, so not sticky, like all-season 205s, pretty much dead. And the car wouldn't spin third if I matted it. Also, that first round of clutch kickers before the fuel problems got bad, with my comp tires not on full kill mode, I could just hit the throttle at any point and it would hit rev limiter. Now I have more grip with the Nitto NT01s, but it will not hit limiter. I mean, I've got the car so gripped up right now that it takes to the very end of the turn for the car to maybe start tapping limiter. So I don't know for sure, seat of the pants, but Dyno says it's down some on power, and that's important because we run this thing on the ragged edge of power to grip. I mean, we are like at the absolute limit right now of how much grip we can have in the car for how much power we have. And the car is competitive, but if we had another 50 horsepower or another 50 foot-pounds of torque down low, I mean, it would make a massive difference at this level because we're on that cusp. So anyway, Kevin offered to throw it on the dyno again and see what it's making now and see if we can't get her tuned up. So I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping we find a missing 50 horsepower. I'm really hoping that that's the case. You know, normally want to be missing 50, but if we find it and we can fix it, that would be pretty cool. So we got the open trailer on the Fummins. We're gonna head over to Gainesville and get this thing on the dyno. Let's hit the road. All right, we made it down here to the KSR Performances.
What's up, everybody?
He's airing my tires up. He doesn't want them at full kill mode for the dyno. I don't get it.
No, we don't want smoke on the dyno. We want...
Well, they're at, I gotta beat the fastest car here, air pressure.
Started there.
Yep, and that's it. Kevin's getting her all hooked up. It always feels like taking your car to the doctor, plugging in all these cords and checking the vitals.
Hey, I had a car on dyno last week, rectangle port 6.0, and it picked up 40 wheel and changed it to long tube header.
Dude.
Kind of like what your old
Yeah. So if you're unfamiliar, this car now has long tube headers and a full dual 3-inch exhaust. Way before, the car had a 5.3. and I had cast iron G8 manifolds, 2.5 to single 3-inch exhaust. And that was adequate for the 5.3. The 5.3 maybe could have picked up some power. When I put the 6.2 in, it didn't really feel like it picked up much power. Like seat of the pants, really didn't feel much different, especially down low, below 5 grand. I wish I would have dynoed it with those to see the pickup, but it felt like it picked up at least 50 horsepower and a lot of torque down low, and the torque curve a lot earlier with the long tubes. It was a drastic difference. I never would have thought it would be that different. The car also ran 30 degrees cooler. When I had the G8 manifolds on this engine, it would just run hot. Like idling, it wouldn't go below 200, 210 at the track. Now it'll go all the way down to 170 where the fans turn off. So headers are important if you're gonna be putting any bit of some power through an LS. Moral of the story.
I agree.
Maybe my headers disappeared and that's why I lost the power. This is the moment of truth here. We're gonna see if I'm right or not. This has been like a couple months of me like, I'm pretty sure this thing's down on power, but I don't know.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what the correction is, because it wasn't as hot when you were here last time. So last time the corrected numbers.
True.
But even then, the corrected numbers don't always equal up if you've got an exceptionally hot or exceptionally cold day.
Right. Yeah, because it was cold. It was cold out when I came last time. We'll see though. We'll see. I'm real curious. I guess it's kind of unfair to ask you to guess because you haven't driven it, but let's see. Guess the power number.
What did it do before? Like a little over 500?
It did 495. It was like right at 500 corrected.
Hopefully the corrected numbers are there, but if not,
I'm hoping it's not. Yeah. So that way there's something to improve on. That's not going to make more than 500. It's a junkyard L92, which is a 6.2 aluminum block. It's basically an LS3, slightly different heads, the truck version, with a cam and valve springs. And that's really all there is to it. It's the LS3 intake. So anyway, I'm gonna guess butt dyno 450 wheel. I don't remember how much torque it made before, so I can't guess on that. Do you remember the torque numbers before? I don't.
It should be in the computer.
Well, I'm gonna guess it's 40 foot-pounds less torque, and the torque comes in 1,000 RPM later. Those are my predictions. I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna put jibber jabber in. We're gonna see what the dyno numbers are. Dyno don't lie.
That was 470.
So
It looked like it hadn't even fully peaked yet, so the torque's way off because you see the spikes in the torque.
Oh, yeah.
So what's happening there is the dyno is missing an ignition event, so it thinks the engine is spinning at half speed. So
okay.
it's just that my pickup is not very good. So that's why it throws the torque to the moon, because it thinks it's making all that power.
That's not a whole ton lower than, I mean, it's almost 30 horsepower lower, but it is way hotter.
Let's see what we've got for corrected numbers, and I'll actually lay it right over here. Oh yeah, oh look at the torque down on the bottom. It's down a bunch of torque.
Yeah, so that's what it felt like.
Yep, so there it is.
That's what it felt like.
So we're on standard correction. So 492 with standard correction. Uncorrected numbers. Yeah, see that's the air right there. See how actually what it just made was 452.
Oh, so I called it.
Well, the correction factor is what it should make on when the air is correct, but it's down a boatload of torque in the middle.
That's what it felt like. It felt like it was down torque.
Torque down here is accurate.
Right.
And
Shoo!
you're down
60 foot-pounds?
Yeah.
70.
No, that's 75 foot-pounds of torque right there.
So something's wrong. What is wrong, though? It happened directly after we switched to the drive-by cable.
I mean, how close is this thing to wide open throttle on the cable?
It's like 80%. All right, ready?
Yeah.
That's all the way.
Yeah, that's not the problem.
That's what I figured. If it wasn't such a pain, I'd put the drive-by cable setup back on it, or the wire, and just see if it just changed immediately.
Right back.
I mean, you think we could... do you have plug wires? I wish I would have brought some.
I do have plug wires.
I almost want to just try another setup, because that's the only other thing we changed when we did the drive-by cable, was we put those plug wires on it.
Plug wires can do some goofy
You know what I mean? That's the only other thing that changed.
Mechanical stuff usually gets worse as RPM goes up.
Right.
I mean, aside from like it being a mechanical restriction, like, you know, you could call spark plug wires a mechanical deal.
Right. I mean, like engine internal.
I don't think the engine's hurt at all.
Yeah, I mean, I compression tested it when we were having when I killed those 2 injectors, and it was like 200, 210 across the board. So 40 horsepower RPM to RPM.
Yeah, and now here, it tightened up out here.
Right.
But you can see it's just dead right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 355 to 430. That's a lot. For the Nittos, my old tires, fully gripped up, I still wanted more grip. The Nittos will give me more grip than I can use with this power. If we bring the power up, we can use all the grip and all the power. All right, we are changing out the plug wires to some MSD ones. These are the exact same ones I had on the car before I put those ceramic boot ones. Kevin luckily had a set. I thought about it halfway here. I have a couple sets of plug wires at home and in the trailer, the enclosed, but brought the open. So anyway, luckily Kevin had a set. So if this works, we'll just replace them. I mean, either way, because they're not gonna be new anymore after this. So as soon as I let off, it drops down to like 3,000-4,000 RPM, and I'm trying to roll back into it at 3,000 or 4,000 RPM. So that power down there makes a huge difference. So blue is this run, right?
Yeah.
And green is the most power run originally.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's way more in the mid-range though.
Yep.
That's like 25 off in the mid instead of 80. So I mean, it probably was plug wires. And the learn table's probably...
Yeah, I'm about to look at the log to see what it shows.
For correction. Half of it, that's better than nothing. Maybe we'll figure out the rest. All right, so it was spinning the tires a little bit on the very first pull, so it wasn't down quite as much as it seemed. Seems like it's still better after the second one. I went ahead and unbolted the intake entirely, or just open throttle body. I'm just kind of sourcing around that area because again, it happened after I put the drive-by cable setup back on. It was fine with the drive-by wire, made great power, and then as soon as I put that back on, I changed the plug wires, and it felt like it's been down in power ever since. So we'll see, just unbolted it, moved it to the side, we'll see if it picks up anything. Yeah, so about the same. Yeah, that was pretty much the same. So it's not that, I'll put the intake back on. That was just, again, shot in the dark. All right, we're trying something. Florida white. These three are all identical, and that's the only odd one. Not identical, but they're all very close. All right, well, we put the old plug wires back on. It's still down 25 foot-pounds, 25 horsepower. It is hotter, but anyway, put the old plug wires back on just to see, because we didn't get an accurate pull the first time because it was spinning on the dyno. So just to see if the plug wires did make a difference or not.
I added a little timing too, so see if 2 degrees of timing, maybe the hotter air, one's a little more timing in it. They're super good. Sometimes with one less timing. I don't remember the last time we were here. Was it really cold?
It was cold.
Okay.
It was cold.
Maybe that's some of it. And it's just time limit there, it's hotter.
Right. Because it's still pulling out 20% fuel on the closed loop from basically when it was dynoed last. 20%, it's a lot. So anyway, let's see how this goes. All right, well, with some more timing, we got her up to 480 from,
Yeah,
I think,
here, see it picking up 6 up there.
because we started at probably
I'd say
10.
470 wasn't spinning.
Okay. So we picked up 10.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably definitely within the air, right? 15.
Yeah, it's definitely getting closer, I would say.
Either way, my excitement was wrong. My Bud Dyno was wrong. We were down 20, 25 horsepower and torque, but you know, to me, I said it felt like 40, 50, or whatever I said in the beginning. And I said the torque curve was going to be way different, which it wasn't. It's definitely lost more in the mid-range than up top, but so still off 20 foot-pounds, which, I mean, at this power level, noticeable, I would say. My Bud Dyno is just too sensitive. I need to recalibrate my Bud Dyno. All right, so the Holly's pulling 20% fuel, kind of like right in the mid-range, and that's about right where I'm getting on and off throttle in tandem and comp. So Kevin pulled fuel out of the table there so it doesn't have to correct. So, because basically what's gonna happen since it's correcting that much, it's gonna go super rich and then bleed in the correction. So basically it'd be a really rich spot, 20% too much fuel. So pulled that out of the map. That should help a lot with that loss of power down there, more or less. It is pretty wild how consistent the car hits the same numbers.
Yep, it is very
Look at those
consistent.
graphs. You can't even tell there's multiple graphs there.
She's pretty happy. I mean, we swung timing around, we swung fueling around. Now it just boils down to maybe it's just the air not being as good. You do have the extra question mark like with your ethanol content, but usually a 15 to 20% swing in ethanol content,
Right.
you don't see anything. Maybe.
Especially NA, like I feel like above
Yeah.
50 or
Pretty much.
covered.
Yeah, there's not a huge swing there.
So we're gonna do another dyno pull, just make sure that it's not gonna pull that fuel out again now that it's out of the base table. And then we should be good to go. I mean, at least now we know. And that could be a huge factor of it. The table pulling so much fuel out and it's going pig rich there. So getting that spot out should help a good bit too. That might be another 15, 20 horsepower just in that spot. Plus the 20 we're down. So we are down the 40 butt dyno. I'm changing the numbers every time, trying to make my butt dyno right. All right, well, we've got it as sorted as the old girl's gonna get. Seems like she likes the number 480-ish wheel horsepower. So Kevin went through, fixed a bunch of just those little small areas where it was too rich in the base map and correcting. That should help a lot. So we'll get it loaded on the trailer. We'll go home and street drive it and just see. Just see. We got the sticky boys on it, so we know if it'll sling them off real quick, then she's better.
They're aired up right now, too, though.
Oh, I'll air them down.
Yeah, don't forget that.
I'll put them in kill mode. But huge shout out to Kevin, KSR Performance. It was awesome to come back to the same dyno because good consistency. If you guys haven't, definitely check out his YouTube channel. I watch it all the time. Tons of interesting builds on there. I'll put a link in the description, but we're gonna head home, street drive it, just see. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It's rained every freaking day. Florida summer, man. They call it the Sunshine State for no good reason. All right, we got back a little late last night and it was raining, so not the prime opportunity for a test drive, but it has rained quite a bit today. So I've just kind of been patiently waiting for the rain to dry up because I want to do the test drive in dry conditions. Otherwise, it's not going to be a really good comparison. I want to really see from like the last time I drove it dry to now, see what kind of difference the tune change has made and really feel it out. While we're waiting for it to finish drying up, we have one little project to do. We're going to be replacing my second place clutch kicker's wheel. Oh, this is hard to do with one hand. Which has been in the car for quite a while with an upgrade, being a first place clutch kicker's wheel. I am so excited about this steering wheel, as silly as it is. when they came out with these as exclusive for podium finishers, I was like, man, I would buy one. I want one. I guess I got to get on the box, you know, top 3 again, so I can get one for the car. And not only do we manage to get one, but a first place one at that. So, you know, just a full-on upgrade from the old second place Johnny. So we're going to get this swapped on. I got to straighten the wheel hub too, and then we'll see how it looks in there. I'm always conflicted about using my trophy wheels. I have a couple first place ones from Texas as well. He's like, oh, I don't want to use it. I want to preserve it. But at the same time, it's a steering wheel, you know? Like, the point is to use it. I mean, I've used this one for about a year now. And, I mean, it's got some wear, but it can now go on the wall and live the rest of its life in peace. I know I'm going to destroy this yellow one, but I got to do it. What's the point in having a trophy wheel if you don't put it in your dang old car? Especially the car that won the dang thing in the first place. Should fit. Alright, let's see if I actually got it straight now. Yeah! Look at that. So snazzy. It's the little things in life. Alright, enough jibber jabbering and dilly dallying. Let's go drive this thing, see what the power feels like. Alright, well, it's almost kind of sort of drizzling, so we need to get after it. Oh, this wheel feels so good. Alright, well, I do need to figure out that clutch grinding issue. I'm not sure what the deal is there. It sounds like it's coming from the trans. I can kind of replicate it in 6th gear. Like, just like, you feel a vibration in your foot, and you kind of hear it over here. I don't know, it's weird. Throw bearing, clutch itself, trans itself. I don't know. But anyway, at least we got to test the theory. It does feel better now, especially that mid-range punch. Before 3rd gear with crappier tires, it would just dig. It wouldn't spin at all. Even if I just stabbed it from like 3-4 grand. So this time it still doesn't have that same pep down low that it used to. But it digs, and then as it gets into the power, it starts spinning them. So, I mean, it's fine. It's enough power. Obviously, we're able to win clutch kickers with this much power, really less than what we have right now. It's just you know, need the old girl to be at 100%. We're going to get some gnarly cars. So always trying to make sure she's ready to go between rounds. So I might have to dig into the trans situation, but for now, that's going to be a wrap. I can get this straight. Just go a little left. No, too much. Anyway, we got our new steering wheel on too, you know, most exciting part of it all. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I will see you guys next time, but for now, that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.